Hi all, we're going to have a look at the amazing game now between Piket versus Kasparov in round 8 of the Tilburg 1989 tournament. So this is their second encounter in the tournament. Kasparov playing black. He chooses his favourite King's Indian defence. I also love playing the King's Indian myself, by the way, and please check out the Goldberg versus T. Gabriel video annotation on YouTube. This was a mainline King's Indian. So all these moves are theory. So knight d7 and now bishop e3. So this was the old main line. A lot of the time nowadays people are playing bishop d2 and knight d3, not committing the bishop to e3 because it gives black a tempo with a later f5 and f4. However, this is a very, very interesting game in which Kasparov accepts this queenside onslaught. And after rook c1, he plays rook f7, which is a very nifty move in the King's Indian, both defending c7 entry point and also potentially attacking later. And this bishop can often come to f8 to protect this d6 liability. After a4, he played bishop f8. After a5, he now played bishop d7. And after knight b5, he didn't care about this a7 pawn, which is a typical idea to give up this pawnless line to accelerate the kingside attack. So he played g4, and we have some now very, very sharp variations, which are often too deep for Rybka unless you run it for very long periods of time and force it to swallow sacrifices. It really doesn't understand what's going on here. So in the game, knight c7 was played. Let's have a quick look at knight takes a7 and why this would be better for black. G takes f3. G takes f3. And now, bishop h3 I think would give black a better position. So, say white plays knight g2 to stop the loss of the exchange there. Now there's a very sharp move at black's disposal here. Knight takes d5 with the idea of queen g5 in one go. And if king h1 now, then bishop takes knight e3 check and black will be better. For example, bishop takes fe, knight b5, knight f4 check. And black's clearly getting better now in this position. Okay, let's go back to the game. g4, knight c7. Kasparov played g3, and now white took the exchange sacrifice, which loses in the game 2 pieces for the rook. The way the game was played, after knight h5, Piket played king h1, and after g takes, rook takes f2, knight g3, king g1, queen takes a8. Black has 2 pieces for the rook here, and is better. Let's have a look at some very dynamic continuations though. After this g3, knight takes a8. First of all, knight h5. If bishop takes a7 was played, there's a really beautiful variation here, which needed Rybka to see 22 ply down. I left it for about an hour. So basically, there's the standard King's Indian sacrifice on h3, then taking on f2 here, check, knight h4, knight c2, and now there's a very, very beautiful winning method. Knight g2 first, because the knight's very useful to get to e3, and after rook a1 there's a quite killer move here. It's bishop e7, so black doesn't commit with knight e3, but first plays bishop e7 with the killer threat of bishop h4. And this is also a killer idea in another variation earlier, which ends with bishop e7. It seems to be the key to whole black's strategy, this bishop coming in with decisive effect. Let me show you earlier. After g3, knight takes a8. If white had played h takes g3, which a lot of engines are screaming out for, f takes, bishop takes, knight h5, bishop f2, queen g5, sacrifice the rook. The engines don't like it, but this is the King's Indian defence. Knight gf4, threatening mate. So white plays g4 to apparently defend. Now this is amazing. As a King's Indian player, I find this absolutely amazing now. That this position has got resources for black to win. You take on e2 first, you play knight f4, winning a tempo. The queen, if it wants to retain on the second rank, let's say queen c2, but black has access to the critical e2 square now. Forget h5, forget bishop g4s. Just bishop b5. Now let's say knight g2, knight check, king h2, and now the rook comes in with a crushing effect. Rook f6, bishop h4, rook h4, h6 rather, king h3, and now here is our old friend bishop e7, which wins. So it seems that this bishop is key in very critical variations. In this variation, let's say black had just tried to just smash through with bishop takes g4. This might be easy to defend with, say, bishop g3. I haven't looked at this in great detail, but Rybka seems to think it's a clear advantage for white. So maybe the winning path that Kasparov had known about is gaining access to this e2 square for a knight check, and the final resource coming in is this killer bishop. I just wanted to demonstrate that that is a really amazing secret about this game, that this f8 bishop is so dangerous in some variations. Let's have a look in the game continuation. After king h1, g takes, knight g3 check. Let's answer a basic King's Engine mechanism question here. If takes on hg, there's a basic way for black to win here. With this fawn pawn, it's incredibly dangerous. It'll be a mate in 4. So king g1, queen h4, and white is just going to be mated on h2 or h1. Bishop d3, say. Actually, here it's a mate in 3 with knight f4. It stops the escape square on e2, so that after knight c2, queen h2 check, king f1, queen h1 is mate. I'm sorry there's so many variations here, but I find them very beautiful, and I need to show them. After king g1, Kasparov played queen takes a8 here, but black is definitely better here. After bishop c4, Kasparov now played a6, so he's utilising this attacking diagonal. And Piket played queen d3. Let's just quickly see hg, fg, rook c2, bishop h6 would be good here, with advantage to black. So using this diagonal to infiltrate on e3 to get onto this diagonal. Let's see knight d3, queen d8, and black has an amazing rampant dark square attack. It's a massive advantage now for black. There's no easy way to defend, because there's other fantastic resources for black here, namely queen g1, rook takes f3, exploiting this pin on g2, and this kind of position is absolutely hopeless for white, because black has enough in the ending which could arise. Let's take this as an example ending with simplification, the exchange down. Black would be winning this type of ending quite easily. So anyway, after queen takes a8, bishop c4, Kasparov played a6, and we see a beautiful finish on the horizon here. Queen a7, and there's another fantastic resource because of this knight on g3. After b5, ab, bishop takes, Kasparov finished beautifully. I'll give you 5 seconds to see if you can see the final move of the game. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. He's played knight h1, a lovely decoy, and Piket resigned. Because Piket would be just a piece down here with very little compensation. Now, I want to have a quick overview and summary of this game, without all the detailed side variations, just to appreciate the beauty of it. A King's Engine defence, mainline variation. So bishop e3 is kind of the old mainline now, because black's gaining a tempo with this f4. The knight's coming quite beautifully, I think. And this lovely rook f7, defensive and attacking, preparing bishop f8, which we also now witness from variations of this game. This is also an attacking piece, because it comes later to e7 in many critical variations. a5, and now Kasparov doesn't mind sacrificing the a7 pawn to accelerate his attack, and this very dangerous g3 idea. He doesn't mind sacking a rook in many variations. In fact, he leaves the rook just to be taken, knight h5, and after king h1 he plays g takes f2 because he's simply winning 2 pieces for the rook. This is already just better for black. And in the final part of the game, this diagonal is exploited. It's highly motivating, this game, for any King's Indian player, and actually one of the 2 favourite King's Indian games I've ever seen. The other was by Gloric, the Brilliancy Prize game, which inspired my recent over-the-board game against Jeff Goldberg. So I hope you enjoyed that. I know there was tons of analysis, but I just wanted to show the resources in black's position. And it shows how the King's Indian, in that old main line variation, is a great system. Thanks very much, and see you on YouTube.